What is up, everybody? This is Famous and welcome to another episode of Pokemon Go. In today's episode, we're going to be exploring the part 2 of the Alolan Forms being added into Pokemon Go. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. If you want to check out part 1, I will have a link in the description as well as the comment section. But what we covered in part 1 was 9 out of the 18 currently known, and then in this episode we are going to be covering the remaining 9 Pokemon. Let's go ahead and briefly cover what an Alolan form is and how it applies to Pokemon Go. In the Alola region, a species regional variant is referred to as its Alola form. A Pokemon in its Alola form is described as an Alolan. For example, Exeggutor in its Alola form is referred to as an Alolan Exeggutor. The reason why this applies to Pokemon Go is the only Pokemon at this point in time with an Alolan form are Generation 1, which means they could be added into the game, specifically as something like a shiny Pokemon, but instead it would be its Alolan form. But let's go ahead and get into this list. Diglett and Dugtrio, by far the most questionable Alola form. Alola Dugtrio received some awesome hair, which is by far the most important point, and an additional typing of Steel, which adds in a lot of new resistances. As a ground and steel type, Alola Dugtrio now resists Flying, Psychic, Normal, Bug, Fairy, and Dragon, while also taking away Dugtrio's weakness to Grass and Ice. With this new steel typing, Alolan Dugtrio defense stat goes up a bit and sacrifices its once monstrous speed stat. Plus it has awesome hair. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And that is going to be Meowth and then also Persian. Notice that they are no longer a normal typing. Instead, they are now dark. Meowth and Persian adapted to life in Alola and gained the dark typing. However, Alola, Persian, and Meowth are not dual type, but strictly dark type. So Rattata and Raticate ended up adopting the dark type as well, but in this case they are now strictly dark type. So they lose their immunity to Ghost, and they also lose the 4x weakness to the fighting type attackers. The Kanto Persian and the Alola Persian base stats are relatively similar, with the Alolan Persian getting a boost in its special attack, where its attack stat was given trainers an option whether to train their Alola Persian to be a physical or a special attacker. So it did open up some new options that were not previously explored in the past. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is a really cool one, and this kind of gets paired a lot with the Ninetales family as well. And that's going to be Sandshrew and then also Sandslash. So Sandslash undergoes a major change in Sun and Moon, as it changes from a ground type to a ice and steel type Pokemon. With this change, Sandslash eliminates its former weakness, ice, water, and grass, and becomes an almost different Pokemon, gaining new weaknesses and resistances in the Alolan form. Stat-wise, both versions keep the same stats for the most part, but the Alolan Sandslash has a slightly higher defense and special defense while sacrificing its special attack compared to the Kanto Sandslash. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I want to say that as far as a design goes, by far my absolute favorite Alolan form is going to be Muck. If you are familiar with all of the Alolan forms, I want to know what your favorite one is in the comment section below. Alolan Muck gains the dark type in Alola, which gives it one of the best type combinations in the game, as a poison and also a dark type. Alola Muck is only weak to ground type attacks, making it one of the best switch-ins in game when you're talking about battle, kind of bringing it onto the field to finish it off. But both versions of Muck keep the same base stats. They are both good at being a strong wall, a very kind of defensive force. Now you just have that extra typing in, and then theoretically some moves that come along with it as well. But like I said, Muck, by far my absolute favorite design of all of them. Now, let's go ahead and get into the last Pokemon, which is kind of going to be a throwback, you're going to know what I'm talking about once I put it up on the screen, and that is going to be Alolan Raichu. Notice that it is standing on its tail. It is representative of a surfboard. If you have heard of the surfing Pikachu, this is kind of a really cool thing to be able to throw into it. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Alolan Raichu. Raichu finally gets some love in Alola as the evolution of the company mascot Pikachu has a new look, a new typing, and then a new lease in battling, adding in that Psychic type. Gaining the Psychic type makes Alola Raichu a unique typing and gives it access to Psychic type attacks that it wouldn't have normally learned in the past. Gaining more weakness is a con, but Alola Raichu becomes a specialized special attacker, raising it slightly while taking away from its general attacking stat. So it makes its special attack higher, its general attacking stat down a little bit. But just imagine being able to catch a surfing Raichu and Alolan form Raichu in the wild. How cool that would be if it was included in Pokemon Go. But anyways, I hope you did enjoy this two-part video. I hope that it meant, it was a lot of fun. You learned something new. You got to see something really cool, what they would look like in Pokemon Go. I am going to be throwing together kind of like a little montage video, adding all of them into one video to make it like super convenient to see them all. But if you did enjoy this, be sure to like and subscribe. I would love to have some new people, some people to communicate. I love talking in the comments section, everything like that. So be sure to leave your thoughts. If you have any suggestions on improvements, I would absolutely love to hear it. But anyways, I hope you did enjoy it, and I will see you next time.
Give me like a tidal wave, triggered by the aftershock. Give me like a tidal